Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. I'm trying to figure out how to get my headphones to connect to my computer. My daughter borrowed my plug-in ones.
Nice.
It's like, oh no. Okay, I think these will work.
You're muted, Tyler.
About now.
There you go.
Yes, first try.
Let's see. Oh, good. Okay, I can hear you in my ears now. Yay.
Yeah,
Nice.
How are you guys?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Doing
So,
good.
Tyler, I figured we should just get these things scheduled. I know we talked about them at Church IT Network.
I'm so glad that you scheduled this because I would have dropped the ball. So I led the overall one at the workshop, so you guys can run with it.
Yeah. Were you at Church IT Network, Corey?
No, I attended via the Facebook group, so I was really appreciative of all the Facebook Live. That was awesome. I'm up here in Canada, so it's a little bit trickier to get down there sometimes. So
Where are you in Canada?
Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just north of Montana.
Yep.
Yeah.
My closest airport is actually, well, I have one where I am, but it's like a hub airport, so it only flies to Seattle.
Okay. Yeah.
So my closest airport is Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it. It takes a lot more work to get from Canada to the US. I never thought about it until I started doing it.
It's not too bad, but yeah. Flying in Canada is just really expensive. Even flying to Vancouver, Toronto, it's all of it. It's just really expensive. So
yeah,
which is unfortunate. But
yeah, so much fun. But we get to do this. We can do digitally. So
yes, absolutely.
And then we kind of get to practice what we preach from church online is a real thing.
Right. It's good. It's really good. Yeah.
So fun. Well, I don't know who else is joining us. It looked like there were 20 people who said they would. But I know Adrienne had to drop out. She's sick and at home. There was another one who wasn't able to make it. And then Angela said she joined by phone at some point. So we'll probably have a few more people show up and kind of join eventually.
Absolutely.
But so what do you guys want to talk about?
Well, everyone said they wanted to talk about Christmas except for me and Jason. Actually, Jason voted for both. How did that even happen?
I let people vote for more than one because you never know. The conversation can pivot.
Corey, what would you like to talk about?
I always love talking about engagement. So, I mean, we could mix Christmas and engagement, but we're a little bit new here. We're about a year and a half, 2 years in. So I always love just kind of getting the pulse on how to keep on engaging people. But yeah. Jeff, you are muted, just so you know. There you go.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a fire alarm, and so like a really loud screeching sound is going to come out in about 10 seconds. So I may stay muted.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, you're really good at engagement with Church Anywhere. What do you guys...
My title is engagement pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been learning a lot from you, Tyler. So really appreciate all that you've done and you're doing. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Just because it's engagement pastor does not mean I'm good at engaging, though. Just so you know, it's just what I'm supposed to do.
But you're thinking about it, right? So yeah.
And
yeah,
we are actually getting ready to do a complete shift in our online campus philosophy, and I'm really excited about it. So we can go into details of that later if you guys would like, but I'd like to hear someone else doing. Hey, Eric. Yeah. You're muted, by the way, Eric.
There we go.
There he is.
Jeff, Tyler, Jennifer, hello. Corey. I'm not sure I met Corey before.
No, nice to meet you.
I'm in Normal, Illinois at East Christian Church.
That's an actual place. It's not like saying Illinois is normal.
Okay.
It's really normal. It's really normal.
There's literally a city named Normal? Yeah. How weird.
And in like a massive
church. They're normal.
I moved about 20 years ago. I moved from Normal, Illinois to Plano, Texas.
Really?
How boring is that life?
When you move to boring, let me know.
Yeah, now I'm back to Normal. So,
Eric, is it Amazon factory that's really close to you guys?
We're State Farm headquarters, Country headquarters, so it's sort of a big professional community here. But about 2 hours south of Chicago.
Nice.
Jeff, how is the whole church, maybe working at a church thing going?
Yeah, we're still figuring that out. Some really interesting things. I had a local church offer me a position. So thinking about maybe getting back in the mix. A church planning organization is ramping up again and starting to talk again about doing some digital church planting initiatives. So talking about that, I keep trying to tell myself I'm self-employed. This is a relaxed lifestyle. It's not the chaos. I was at a church doing an install for video gear until midnight last night. So it's self-employed isn't the relaxation that they tell you sometimes. We're not all like Jennifer, who can like take a year and just travel around in her Winnebago.
I still
God
work.
bless her for that. But it's exciting times, man. There's a culture shift that's happening where, I more and more I meet churches and I talk with people who are like, okay, attendance is declining. What does that mean? Where are the people going? What are they looking for? And, Tyler, like I heard you do a part of a spiel on scorecard. And I think, reevaluate the church that's looking to hire me. I'm literally, they're on an 8-year decline. Giving is high though. And they're like, well, why are we declining, but giving is still high? And maybe it's because how you're measuring your success isn't how you should be measuring your success. And let's reevaluate what we're really doing instead of that. Like there was this popped up I think it was this Facebook group, maybe it was another one, but the pro church tools, somebody posted, what was his name, Brady Shear.
He does something very similar.
Oh my gosh. And Tyler, yours, I heard your spiel and then I see his written up and it's like that model just is revolutionizing what church really should be. And so if you've never seen that, Tyler, I encourage you to kind of share that or your stuff and to get into it. But, there are many churches out there that are wrestling with this. Okay, our attendance is dropping. I had one of my former clients was, hey, attendance is dropping. We want to spend $650,000 on better projectors, because the reason people are leaving is because the video teaching quality isn't good. Okay, let me just be the first to tell you, and yes, there's profit to be made in selling $650,000 worth of projectors. But the reason people are not leaving your churches is not because of projectors. So that's another conversation. But I'm excited to see anytime you get, church online people together who are wrestling with these things, who are on the front line of helping change the culture in churches, man. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for what you guys are doing and wrestling with it, and just the opportunity that I have and that all of us have to just be a resource and in a training and opportunity to help you guys who are literally on the front lines. It's funny. I've been off the front lines for a year and I miss it. I didn't think I would, but I do. And now it's, it's encouraging for me even to just be able to live vicariously through Brent or through Tyler or some of you guys that are out there in the midst of this. So yeah. Awesome.
Brent, how are you, man?
Good. Yeah, sorry I was a little late. I totally forgot about it, and then I saw the pop-up, so I was like, oh yes, that's right. But yeah, things are well, man. Things are crazy, but things are good.
Good. Seems like more people are jumping on here. So what is one thing that you guys are going to do for Christmas this year different for your online campus, or what's your strategy? Cool.
It's an amazing strategy.
I'm going to open some gifts. I might sip some chai latte. I'll probably put on like the newest remix Christmas album. Oh no, you wanted to talk about church online specifically. Okay.
I don't have a strategy. We're not doing anything different this year for Christmas. I just was curious. The number one thing that we wanted to talk about was Christmas online. So I was just curious.
Yeah. How many services are you guys doing? Like what's you're only doing one online or one period?
One online. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't stream all your experiences and you just do, what is it? The Christmas Eve, primary? Mm-hmm. What do the rest of you guys do with that?
We're doing all 5 online, but we just started having the ability to pre-record the host open and close, so that we can just have one person just do the Facebook live chat, and then have the consistent service all the way through. We did it last year, and honestly, you do get a different audience every service, so we were okay with just spending a little bit more time on Facebook Christmas Eve. So yeah, we're doing all 5.
Cool.
We're just doing the 2 on Christmas Eve. We've got and that's because it's a multi-site strategy though, because we have 3 physical locations and we have the online campus with our 4th physical location launching next Easter, the week after Easter. So to align, we're all about campus alignment, and the Centerville campus, the largest campus, the broadcast campus, is doing 2 on Sunday, 2 on Monday, and 2 on Christmas Eve. But the other 2, Springboro and Northmont, the 2 that have come out of the Centerville campus, are only doing 2 on Christmas Eve. And so I want the online campus to be seen like a multi-site, although anyways.
You could have that conversation all day long.
So yeah, so we're just doing the 2 on Christmas Eve, but like today we posted something on our Facebook page. Hey, have you joined our Facebook group pages yet? And they listed Centerville, Beaver Creek, Northmont, and Springboro, and didn't even list the online campus, which is funny because the online campus, I was the one who had the group page before anyone else. So I'm like, whatever, you do you, and we'll keep posting it every single week, and we'll still have the most probably meaningful conversations that is happening online, because it's primarily staff on the other ones still trying to post it. They're not posting it as staff. They're posting it like, I just go to Centerville or I just go to Springboro. But anyways, so it's interesting anyway, and we've been in this now. It'll be 3 years next April, so it's not like it's anything new for the online campus, but it's one of those things where I don't think leadership really gets it completely. Is it actually a campus? Is it not? It's just a way to get people, all the things that we've talked about.
I remember personally the tension, in past Christmases for me when I was online, they wouldn't. To agree with you, Brent, they didn't want to broadcast the times. It was not, just make it happen online, drive people with your own audience, and it might magically appear on a Facebook Live or something like that. But it was never listed because they didn't want to offer a deterrent for people to kind of not show up in the physical space. And so there's always that tension of that. I'm curious because I know I've seen a couple churches. I know Jay is with Saddleback, and they're starting to do like the watch parties where Jay's actually encouraging people to kind of gather together on for Christmas and do like a family Christmas service, watching the church service, either sim live or on demand, or and so you're like creating that physical community like in a house or something like that. Have any of you guys ever thought about doing something like that or experimented with gathering people together like on a Christmas or on an Easter? Go ahead, man.
I pitched that idea this year to Randy, our senior pastor, and he thought I was crazy. So we are not doing it. And that's for those of you who don't know our situation very well. That's like a never happens kind of thing. Like usually if I pitch something, he's like, "Man, let's do it." And he's a
pretty open guy.
So do not do that. So, yeah. So I don't know.
Randy thought it was the worst thing ever.
Hey, he's like, why would our biggest day of the year for us? Why would we not want people to come? So.
Well, Brent, ours was opposite. Last year we didn't really get a mention, but this year we got on all the screens around the around thing. Bloomington.
Oh, very cool.
Campus, online campus, and I had
That's awesome.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, you actually gave us billing as a separate campus. Because you're right.
That's a big step.
We have the largest, well, like the second largest church in town, just our online church. So, anyway, I'm glad.
Where are you based out of, Eric? Normal, Indiana? Normal, where?
So church is about 5 or 6,000 in person, another 1,500 to 2,000 online.
Wow. That's great.
It's a massive building. That church is huge.
Big church, yeah.
But yeah, all right,
but we're not doing anything different, Tyler. We're just, we're streaming the 4 Christmas Eve services and chatting online with people. But I thought that was interesting, though. What if you pitched your idea? What were you going to include in it, Tyler? Just gathering people on Christmas Day?
No. So I was going to. We went over this a little bit at the conference, but we are going to this cause-based discipleship model next year.
Yeah.
I really wanted to kick that off this year and have families gather together and worship only online and not offer a physical service.
Oh, I see. So you would scrap.
Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But we were also going to launch the causes that day and have every single family commit to serving someone in the community together. So they would get their worship experience as a family, but they would also serve as a family and hopefully start a relationship with the cause piece. We're just not ready to roll that out yet. So he didn't say it was the dumbest thing I've ever said, because I've said dumber ideas. And he didn't go for that one. So
got it.
There was one thing I did. This is maybe 3 years ago, and it was taxing, but I felt like it was worthwhile. And this was before what is it? Intercom.io. That's one of the vendors, right? That puts a little chat thing down at the bottom. I don't remember the vendor of it, but this was like 2015, 16. And so we had it on, we had a competitor of that on the site. And it used to roll like through a bot. But for like Christmas, the 23rd to the 24th, I like left it open where everything would come to me, just on experiment. Cause I wanted to see like how many people were going to it. They weren't looking for like, hey, how can I get baptized? They were like people in emotional need, people who were wrestling with things, people who needed help. I was blown away by the amount of traffic. I had 50 conversations via, mobile chat with people who were like, part of it was a very just draining exercise because it was all, overly depressed people. But it was amazing how much need there was in that holiday season. Like the traffic clicks were even higher metrics. This is a couple years ago, but it was much higher clicks on that, help me button, whatever it said then. And so like, I don't know if you guys have experimented or looked at any of that. Intercom.io is one version. I'm sure there are others that you could recommend, but it just giving that, I wouldn't do it myself all over again, just because like that was crazy. And like I didn't have family in town, and we were all chill for that particular holiday. But spread it out maybe among volunteers, have like different people, maybe your prayer team people, be able to, pray, or people that are capable of handling more emotional weighty conversations as you have people in need looking for things. It was just an amazing thing that I experienced a couple years ago.
Yeah, we have a team. We work with CB Outreach. Do you guys do that? I know Jen, you and I have talked about this. But we have a team that's a felt needs team for online, and we probably get 8 or 9 conversations a day going with people in very similar situations. Anecdotal story about that though. On Tuesday, I got to baptize someone from one of our Church Anywhere locations who told, he was in a prison. So this is one of the prison ones. And he told us that this was the best Thanksgiving he's had in years because he was in prison and at least he had people around him. Wow. Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard? He had spaghetti by himself last year. And this year he got to have a Thanksgiving meal with his Church Anywhere family. Really sad. And we got to baptize him, which was awesome. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. So beyond Christmas, what does 2020 look like for you guys?
I will back up to one Christmas thing we are doing that I forgot to mention that was a big difference this year. We have a project called Imagine where we give away coats and toys and food baskets to people. And over the years it's grown, but people will take like an angel tree. People will take an angel tree in the building, and then they'll go and shop and they'll bring it to the church. And so next Saturday is our distribution day where we, give to like 1,000 different families stuff. Last year we just tried for the first time just putting an online link so that people could buy a coat online at Amazon or whatever and have it shipped to the church for our online people. And we only had one person last year bought a coat, sent it to the church, and it was like 2 weeks before the program. And so, we just threw it up on our chat room and said, hey, if you want to buy something. But this year we changed it. So we announced it from stage that anyone could buy online from Amazon. We put a wish list together. So there'd be, wow, we need 20 of these coats. We need 30 of these coats. We need whatever. We have had hundreds and hundreds of people shop online every day. The church is just inundated with boxes from Amazon. And, people were really reluctant to let people shop online, which is sort of shocking, but they wanted people to go to the store, touch the coats, pick them out, which I really appreciated, the wanting that tactile experience, but that's just not the way people shop these days. And all of a sudden we were just inundated this year, with boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff just because we let people buy it online. And they still went to the store and bought stuff too, but just one of those powers of tapping into what the culture is doing.
That's awesome.
I don't know, maybe we missed something in the tactile department, but we're blessing a lot of people, I think, in a different way, more and quicker and easier. And people want to give, they just want an easy way to do it. Same with church. They probably want to go to the church, but they just want something a little more convenient, more accessible. All right, I'm telling the choir here.
No, that was good.
That's was amazing.
Yeah. I'd like to get the final numbers. So this Friday we'll have the final numbers of how many boxes came in from Amazon. But I mean, there's a huge difference from one last year that was only put to our online community to actually saying it from the stage and here's your link and anybody can go do this. So.
Well, and I wonder how helpful it was that you gave the wish list too versus just go buy a coat or.
Well, very much, because last year we did put, we said women's large and we made a category on Amazon for women's large, but we didn't say which one to buy or how many to buy. Yeah. But the wish list says, has 9, needs 16.
Right. And they didn't have to think. They just had to push the button.
Right. Push the button, pick a price that works, and
find the one that hasn't been bought yet. That kind of thing.
What do they need?
Nice. I like it.
I'm going to steal that just so you know.
Sure.
So one thing we're doing Christmas time is, I don't know if anyone else is doing this, but on the 22nd, we are canceling all physical location services in the morning because we have the 2 special services starting at Centerville that day. So it's an online only service on the 22nd. I don't know if you guys are doing that as well, but that's always a fun time for us to We'll pre-record worship. That happened yesterday, actually. They pre-recorded the worship actually at our Springboro campus, which will be kind of fun. It'll be a different backdrop than people are used to seeing. They'll actually see a totally different backdrop. And then there'll still be a host, which I've asked if it's going to be me, and I've kind of gotten like a kind of yes. And I'm like, well, it kind of probably should be me. But anyways, we'll see what ends up happening with that. And then a sermon, like a 25-minute sermon still. So it's like about a 45 to 50-minute service. Pretty typical to our normal service is about 65. So a little shorter. But anyways, I wasn't sure if anyone else did that or if you've had experience doing that. We had to do it twice in the beginning of this year when we had snow days. We actually had to cancel service twice. The worship team actually went in the first week and recorded it, and then they had to preach live. But the second week we anticipated it because there was a chance for a big storm, so they pre-recorded worship. And I think just our pastor went in to record the sermon that week or something like that. But anyways, it's interesting when it happens because, again, they want to say, oh, well, we only had 1,700 devices logging on, so our numbers were way down. And I'm like, hold on, 1,700 times 1.8, which is what the average, viewing is on a normal weekend. And I bet on this weekend, because we got whole families watching, it's going to be more like 2.5, if not 3.5, people per device. Like, that's huge, So anyways, it'll be interesting to see what the follow-up is after that on the 22nd, like when they hear the numbers and they're like, oh, only 800 at 10:30.
So you canceled physical services?
Canceled on the 22nd, yes.
Yeah, one of the churches I'm working with, it's actually a church I attend. They shut down on the 29th. And so annually, and this is going back maybe 4 or 5 years, 29th, the week before, in between Christmas and New Year's, offices shut down, and there's a pre-recorded church online service already in the can, pre-recorded worship, custom worship, like studio worship style, not worship venue. Although I love the idea of doing it at another campus. And then I think it's 3 or 4 sermonettes, different guys that don't necessarily always get platform space, kind of preaching on their specific areas and kind of like doing a charge for the new year. So yeah, I'm just curious, does anybody else ever, okay, blizzard, hurricane warnings aside, like the physical building shuts down, of course everybody's going to go online. But does anybody else ever like shut down intentionally for online for different reasons?
We've done it. We've done it one time. We were in the Church Anywhere series like 2-3 years ago, and we just did it as an example. But I live in a rural community that barely has internet, so that's just not a practical thing for us. So.
And Brent, what was the primary motivation for the December 22nd? What sold them on that idea?
It was because of all the volunteers, the surf team members that would be coming back to the Centerville campus. For because the first service is at 3:00. Our services are 9, 10:30, and noon. So literally that noon service won't end until 1:00, 10 after 1, and then you're having to clear the whole entire parking lot, and the lines start showing up an hour before our Christmas services. They're called the Wonder of Christmas, and we'll have close to 9,000 people come. 8,500, 9,000 people will come to these. So to do it, so it's really a practicality thing of just, we got to free the parking lot up. We got to give the musicians and the production team a chance to actually breathe, and not to mention all the guest services team, and so it's really just a practicality thing.
Okay.
Yeah. There were churches down here in South Florida that did that. It's a potential church actually did. No. Church by the Glades shut down at that same service. They do the same thing. They shut down for the Sunday because they were gearing up for the Christmas Eve. And for some reason, and I'm not telling you don't do this, but one of I think it was a local newspaper picked up that they did it, ran a story that the church was too busy to be open for Christmas. And there's a lot of negative PR and press around it. Dozens of other churches have done it in Miami, like for different reasons. I think they just kind of got picked on because of whatever the situation was. It was It's one of the larger churches down here in Fort Lauderdale. So maybe be sensitive to maybe something like that may happen. Have a response ready in case. Well, and down here in Miami, like all the press hates churches. So that's
Also,
what it is.
Church by the Glades is like uber theatrical, so they bring a lot of that. One of my really close friends was the worship guy that started. It was there when they started that.
No kidding.
I worked with him up at Northview in Indianapolis, but he left Church by the Glades. He was there for 11 years, but he showed me some of their stuff and like.
Oh, it's over the top.
They give the press a reason.
Do that, you shut down. You bring it. It's a little. Okay, you're right. They bring it on themselves.
He showed me a video of them. They did Nick Jonas's Chains, and he literally came out with no shirt on and chains on and sang that song. I was like,
What?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Good. They have solid teaching. They just are really.
It's Miami's
everything
an interesting.
Short of sin.
Yeah.
It's an interesting culture down here because Miami as an area, as a urban area, South Florida is very visually stimulating, just as a general rule, and so to kind of get through that, a lot of the churches down here are just above board than what probably way above what the average traditional. It follows that same logic where people are leaving our church. It's because of the projectors. I mean, that's kind of in that same like train of thought. It has nothing to do with your projectors, sir. But okay. Anyway, what else?
Anybody else on Christmas?
Sorry, Tyler, you're backed up to Christmas. Off to the new year.
Yes, 2020. What's everyone's big? Give me your big three for 2020. What do you want to accomplish?
Well, we're still behind in the live hosting area, which I would love to add in, but technology, we're waiting on some capital funds to pull that off well. We could do it, but they want to pull it off well. But I'm still a little hesitant, concerned about being the host after just setting the tone and setting the right tone, and it makes me nervous getting that all right, because I just want to do a good welcome, but I think that will make a big difference in our online engagement. So, from what I hear,
I think the big three for Fairhaven, for me in particular, is just trying to get more surf team members, which will mean obviously more expansion possibilities. I'd like to get more small groups online through the online campus. And we also, Eric, are trying to get the live hosting, that capability of switching into actually having some live hosting. And I loved what you did the other day, Tyler. I saw it was a few weeks ago now, but the fact that you like specifically were talking to the online people, and then you had the camera move, and then it was like the live service. I love that idea. And I would love to be able to do that at Fairhaven. And I'm like, golly, it would be pretty simple to do. And then I think it's also you, Tyler, who, when you're doing your announcements during the stand and greet, you just have the pastors like look at the camera, and then you specifically talk to the online people. I'm like, that's so simple. And it's so awesome though. Like, what a cool thing, So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do some of those kinds of things. We'll see. And then there's a church local to this community in Beaver Creek that I watched there online, and they did something really neat, which it's not new. Other churches I've seen do it, but I thought it was really cool. And I'm like, we got to try to do this too, which is when the service ends, they had two hosts, like just kind of debriefing and talking about next steps. And like, I'm like, what a cool thing to be able to do though. And it doesn't have to be just for online people at that point. You know what I mean? It primarily obviously is because it was on their Facebook page, but anyone else can come back later and watch that. So those are some of the things I really want to grow the online campus, small groups, and then figure out a way how to, just better engage people in the moment beyond the chat. Like, so doing some of those things that I've seen you guys doing, Tyler, I think those are very easy, pretty simple anyway, things to do, that can add huge value.
Yeah, we try to hit 4 touch points. We used to do 3. So we used to do just the after the announcements and welcome and greeting, like while people are greeting. We've always done that one. We always do one right at the beginning of the sermon, and then we always do like a sign off at the end. But in the last like 4 months or so is when we introduced that intro one. We used to do it, it used to be pre-recorded. Now it's all done live, and it's been a game changer for our first time connections. We've had like, I would say probably a 60% increase in connection cards being filled out for first time guests since we started. Instead of in the chat saying we'd love to connect with you, here's how you do that.
Yes.
Somebody's actually saying that to them, they're more apt to fill that out. So
The online connection card.
yeah, the online connection.
Really? But doing it in the chat as opposed to a host saying it.
No, the opposite of that. Yeah. So yeah, we've grown that by about 60% since we started doing it like live rather than in the chat.
Yeah. Personal ask.
Jeff, where are you at?
I've finished the video install today, and so I'm at a church in Coral Gables. I got to drive to another church in Miami Beach to work tonight, and so like I'm killing time here using free Wi-Fi, you know, munching on free food that's in the kitchen, and they just decided, hey, we're going to test the entire like emergency fire alarm system, and so I mean, literally, it's like you can see the lights flashing every 5 minutes or so, like it's just deafening.
Maybe
Yeah.
you
It's awesome.
the building.
I don't have anywhere else to go.
You sure it's a
Sorry?
test? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
no, it's definitely a test. The building's not on fire. I asked 2 or 3 times just to make sure.
Maybe it could also be a test to see how long he's going to stay.
Corey, what are you
Well
guys
done.
doing in 2020?
So we've actually made a lot of steps. We're kind of new to the online ministry, but we were actually broadcasting in 4x3 like 2.5 years ago. So we finally got our whole system updated, and with the update, live streaming on Facebook, and we kind of just we took it slow, but it was also like lots happened. So for us right now, we actually are on our website. We just live stream the service. So we don't have any way to chat with people. So we don't use Church Online. We just have it, a system where just the video populates right on the website, and that's all you can do. So really want to get the chat going, connecting with people on our website. We do have really great Facebook chat going right now. So we actually have really great engagement on Facebook. Our Facebook group is thriving and growing, which is just really cool to see. I started the Facebook group, and I think it was 2011. So it was just me posting. And then finally, when we started this online stuff, it's just been really cool seeing our community just embrace the online Facebook group, because they are online. So it's been awesome just watching that kind of develop. So we're going to do online groups. We did do 2 online groups this past fall, a ladies and a men's group. So we're gonna keep on plugging with the online groups. So that's kind of another thing. So chat on our website, doing the online groups. Those are the big 2, I think, for me. That
Cool.
So excited about that. And just for me, we have just a great group, so I want to think more in engagement with our Facebook group. So the YouVersion reading plans, we're just finishing up our first time doing a year. So we started in January 1, and our youth guys were in small groups. Everyone was kind of in just to do this. So we had about 20 people. 3 people ended. 3 people made it all the way through. So starting that up again, and thinking about the different ways just to make those touch points for people online. Address so much felt need, like you were saying. So finding ways just to help bridge those connections.
Cool.
Yeah. So
you had 20 people in one group at the same time?
20 people.
You said, I thought you said you had 20, went from 20 to 3. I'm just curious. Did I mishear?
That was the year-long Bible reading plan.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. No, the online groups were interesting because we had about 20, we did have about 20-25 ladies interested, but we ended up with four ladies that just decided to let's do this. It's new for our church community, so everyone's like, oh, what's going to happen? But they're actually going to continue meeting in the new year. So I think that was kind of a very cool experience for them. And they actually met after a service, and one of the ladies leading the group, she's like, it was so weird to see someone's full body after only looking at their face for a couple months. So yeah, it was really cool just to see some of those connections, even again online to offline.
And Corey, I'm sorry, I missed the introductions. What church are you at, and where?
Yeah, I'm at First Alliance Church in Calgary, Alberta.
Great.
Canada. Yep.
I detected a little Canadian accent there.
Wait, Corey, you said what now? What church? Sorry, I was editing a video in the background here. That's why I muted my thing really quick. I've tried to export this thing twice, and anyways.
Yeah, it's First Alliance Church in Calgary, Alberta.
Dude,
Canada.
so you're an Alliance guy.
Yeah, as a pastor, yes. Didn't grow up Alliance, but have been in the Alliance for the past 7 or 8 years. So
I love the Alliance. Fairhaven is an Alliance church.
Okay, yeah, awesome. I love the Alliance too. It's been such a good group of pastors, churches. Yeah, really.
And there's not a whole lot of us that are doing the online thing because most CMA churches are smaller. So anyways,
yes,
not to take the time up, guys, but yeah, it's not a normal thing to be talking to a CMA person, Christian and Missionary Alliance. There's not a whole lot of us doing this kind of thing because most Alliance churches in America are 100 people or smaller, really. So churches like Fairhaven are an anomaly.
Yeah, same thing in Canada. Like we do church online, but there aren't a lot of online pastors. But it's great. It's great. I love that we get to do this. So
absolutely. Sorry. Yeah, I thought I heard that when my video was playing really loud in the background, and I was like, wait, Alliance.
Yeah.
Cool. Jen, do you have any big plans for 20? How's your Mastermind thing going?
We ended up pushing it back until January. And we might push it back a little bit longer just because we know everyone's trying to get kind of start of the year and go from there. And I saw, Jeff, you just announced you're doing a Mastermind too. Kind of, your coaching groups. You have to unmute yourself. The alarm is going off, right?
Yeah, we're doing something similar, and it's ours is going to be low key. I actually wanted to get. I saw the same things like Jen's doing that too, so let's compare notes. But
yeah, or maybe we just merge them into one.
Let's have that conversation,
right?
I'm open to that.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So I finished my dissertation. I wrote it last week on Thanksgiving break. My advisor is now looking at it and telling me that he's not sure he can get to it by January when it's due. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Got my website up. So for those who haven't talked to me about what I'm doing with my dissertation work, I'm actually creating basically an online small group Bible study curriculum for church onlines who are looking for discipleship for their communities and are trying to figure out how to do it. And so I've got one week up already, but the goal is to do Zoom meetings, allow people to do breakout rooms so they can actually connect with people, learn the Bible stories, connect with other people and get feedback. Like, do you know the story? What's the story about? Like Tyler, I think you and I talked about the discipleship or the study group.
Yeah.
And so it's something similar, but online.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm moving forward with. And I have a new job. So Jeff's heard about my new job.
Yeah. Now back up. Have you, I didn't know you were writing your own curriculum.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Glue about that?
No.
Do you want to talk to Glue about that? They're looking.
Sure.
Let's offline.
Let's talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I literally, I just had a conversation with them yesterday and they were drilling into me on what curriculums to use in online environments, and I talked about Rooted, a couple of the other stuff, but they didn't like some of the answers I was saying because they were looking for something else. So cool.
Yeah, no, my whole thing is, the reality is people who are doing church online, it's Steve, hey! A lot of people, like, I think I've talked to most of you, people don't read anymore. The majority of our society reads less than one book a year. So the odds are they're not really reading the Bible. They're learning their Bible from whoever they're watching in church online. And so a lot of the curriculum that I'm designing is completely video based, and it takes the Bible and turns it into 2-minute stories. And then you learn the story, you learn how to tell the story and how to talk about the story with other people. And it uses like the Rooted questions, the Discover Bible Study questions. It's the same stuff they use in international missions. So it's very much just applying all that into what does digital do today. But yeah. Oh, and then my new job. So I have resigned from Faith Life, those of you who knew I was at Faith Life, and I am moving over as of December 16th, so in 12 days, I think, to Living as One to be their live stream product manager.
Oh, nice.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
So basically,
to be back in church online.
You're like kind of a big deal now. So.
Well, I mean, you can say you knew me when.
Right,
yeah.
right.
No, you know me. That's never going to be me. But yeah. I'll get to help a whole lot of churches, which is exciting.
What is Living as One? I'm sorry, I don't know.
So they're a live stream provider. So kind of like StreamMonkey, or if you're gonna do more than just Facebook Live or Restream, they're the big people in the market. They do multi-site, they do live stream, they do a little bit of on-demand stuff, and so it'll be interesting to see.
So one note about that I'll say, Jennifer, that I'll give you a challenge, and you can say challenge accepted, right? We switched to Living as One for our multi-sites, but as we looked at it for online, it actually did not have all the capabilities that I currently have with StreamSpot, our current provider. So we did not switch online campus over. Okay. So
they've changed within the past couple months, and they're constantly adding stuff. What's it missing? I'm curious.
So the things that StreamSpot gives us, number one is the price. Like, I pay $1,500 for a whole entire year, and it gives us up to 800 viewers simultaneously. It gives us 300 gigabytes of online storage. It does all of the manual broadcasting for me. So I put it in one time. I have it recurring for all my services. And it's also because StreamSpot is my streaming provider, but they also have the encoder that works directly with their system. So it tells me when it's offline as soon as it goes offline. Their tech support is right on it. Whenever there's an issue, I email them and they get back to me right away. And for the price that we pay, I'm just like, that is crazy for what we get, for what they give us. I mean, and they're a local company. They're down in Cincinnati. We're in Dayton, Ohio. They're Cincinnati, Ohio. So I kind of like that we're supporting kind of a local company. But it's like, I just know, I mean, I wanted to go to Living as One. I talked to the guy at the Church Online conference last year, and I was pumped. I was part of the reason we are doing Living as One for our multi-sites. And so just as we had a conversation with the Living as One people just about 2 months ago, it's still like, unfortunately, it just StreamSpot was still winning for us in terms of the cost that we pay and what we got back for what we were paying.
Well, let's have a bigger conversation once I'm there about features, and then I'll see what I can do.
I'm sure you'll be able to do it. I bet you will, honestly. Like, because I don't think it's like big things. Like, I'm not a programming type guy or like know that kind of stuff, but I can't imagine you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine it's this big of a void. It's got to be like this,
Yeah. Well, I'll know more once I'm there and I get started and have a chance to talk to everybody. And that is what I'll be doing, is literally the live stream platform. So
awesome.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we love Living as One, though. I mean, it has made the multi-site streaming so easy. I mean, and you literally get the box. It's like this big. No joke. They used to get a rack that was like this big, that they'd have to try to, I mean, and it was the loudest thing in the world. Living as One is just up. I mean, it's amazing. We love it. So.
Well, everyone I asked before I took the job, everyone said amazing things about them. They all loved them. So I was like, okay, the few people that I've talked to that I know use them or even don't, but are aware of them. That's good to hear.
Yes. So I'm excited that you're going to be joining that team, because it'd be great if all multi-sites, including our online campus, just use Living as One. Like,
right.
So.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'm excited.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Stephen, we're talking about what are your big 3 things that you're hoping to achieve next year in the online campus world?
Unmute myself for one. I do more. So I'm not directly working in the online campus world. I consult with missions agencies, and sometimes it ends up being large international churches that are like in different parts of the world. And so I might refer some of them to someone, if they're dealing with online campuses, but like the church I currently serve in here in the States, it's like a church of 350. And so most of what I do is consulting on social media and evangelistic and the discipleship strategies. And so the extent that intersects with churches that are doing online campuses, a lot of times I engage there, but it's more about their discipleship processes and things like that. So I'm continually, looking to learn and learn new tools and things like that. But I'm not directly, pastoring an online church. So I don't know that I have a good answer of what the 3 things I hope to achieve next year.
No, that's good. I was just trying to include you.
Oh, thank you, man. I feel included.
Good. Feel the love.
Yeah.
Can
All you guys do though. It's a great. You know what? I'll tell you this. I am so thankful to be living in this generation. I think because of digital ministry, like if not in my lifetime, definitely the lifetime of my kids or grandkids, like I think we legitimately may be able to see the gospel get to every tribe, tongue, and nation, largely as a result of digital outreach. So I just, man, I'm humbled by it. I'm overwhelmed. I'm thankful for it. And I love anyone who's doing ministry in digital space. So God bless all you guys. And thanks for the invite, Jennifer.
Yeah, well, and your ministry is really unique. You should talk a little bit about what you do online.
Can you tell me where you are too?
Yeah, I'm located in Oklahoma City, but so we operate some really large. So we do several things. We operate, for one thing, we have some really large social media pages that are just sort of general Christian encouragement type pages. They just grew organically or virally and have several million followers. And so we maintain those, which takes a good bit of work at this point. And then I'm trying to find ways to monetize them better, because we didn't start out with the idea of monetization, and we're not a large church. And so then from that, we've had a lot of missions agencies reach out, because some of our platforms have significant audiences in other countries and very specific demographics. And so sometimes missions agencies will want access to some of our platforms in the various continents. And then from that, we started taking agreements to consult with missions agencies that wanted to expand their social media presence. And that ranges from, helping some agency to increase their reach by 25%. Maybe that's their big, hairy, audacious goal. Or it includes developing a more holistic strategy for beginning to end, like media to disciple making. So if you think about like disciple making movements or the underground church, so like last night, we had a call on, in Central Asia, a country there, part of the former Soviet Union, and they have these digital assets, and then trying to find spiritual seekers and then funneling them into underground disciple making movements and things like that. And so that's the thing that excites me the most, is using digital strategies and funnels to identify legitimate seekers, and then coach the teams on the ground with some strategies to sort of vet people and things like that. So that's sort of the short version of it. So periodically we'll run into like large churches that are international, that are kind of in a similar space. And so that the recent conversation I had with Jennifer was related to that. And so church that has a physical existing presence, but they also have a lot of underground believers because of security risks and things like that. So that's sort of the space that we're in. And man, I just love it. The Holy Spirit is drawing people from everywhere, and through digital opportunities, we can help identify them, and I just, man, so I love it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking. So
Yeah, I love that, man. That's my heart, is this whole the strategy behind how to make disciples and finding different ways to disciple people. And so you're speaking my language here.
thanks. Yeah, I love it so much. I'm just super humbled and honored to be, I don't know, just to be part of a small part of what God's doing in this generation. I just love it so much. And yeah.
Really quick, speaking about that, I'm sure you all have heard of Seed Company, right? And what they're doing to get the gospel out. So it's really cool. Seed Company is like taking they're taking the middleman out, basically, before you go into a place where you'd have to learn the language, and then they'd have to come up with an alphabet and then teach the alphabet to those people, and then write the Bible or portions of the Bible into that language and try to teach them, and, all that stuff. What Seed has done, Seed Company, is they are figuring out the people's indigenous language, recording on, computers and using software and things like that. And then taking MP3s that are solar powered rather, and then bringing the spoken word gospel to people. It's called Seed Company. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. It's such an exciting time to be alive, because, man, if Jesus isn't coming in my lifetime, it's got to be my kids, because every tribe and nation is going to hear so soon. I mean, it's just amazing what is being done through this, what we're doing right here, and all these other amazing, just really cool things. So, the world can be so depressing, but I hope that we understand that, man, God's word is advancing in such strong ways.
Yeah. There's two other ministries that do something similar. Ethnos 360, and then Story Runners with Crew, which is where, when I was doing my dissertation research, that's where I found out about how they're using audio story for international mission. So it's kind of a growing movement. It is really cool.
Though. Yeah, it's so cool. It takes their time from what used to be this huge, long thing, and it's just like, boom. I mean, it's still time to learn a language, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
I know Story Runners finds people in the communities that are multilingual in a language that one of their missionaries speaks. And then they work with the people who are indigenous to come up with the stories. So they don't even have to figure out how to learn the language. They've got a whole system for that. So it's probably something similar.
That's sweet.
Yeah, there are a lot of, I mean, oral people groups, a lot of UPGs, like Ethnos 360 works with UPGs mostly, but almost all of them are oral peoples, and so there's a lot of cool technology out there internationally that a lot of it's been going on for a really long time. And we just hear about certain ones, and, and so, yeah, super, man.
That's awesome.
We're just such a small piece of what God's doing in the world. I mean, the United States, I don't know how many Christians there are in the United States, but the total population is 350 million? But there's 600 million Christians in Africa,
Crazy.
So, in the last 20 years, more Muslims have come to faith in Jesus than in the last 1,400 combined. And so it's kind of what's going on, and here we are. And, dear God, please help us to have good Christmas services, and And then like the underground Somali church is like, multiplying,
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
Our prayers are significantly different than virtually any other country in the entire world.
right.
Maybe not Canada, Corey.
Yeah.
So I have something I would love to run past you guys for what our big three is in 2020, if you guys will indulge me for a sec. So we had we started a service at the same time as our 1045 service. I told a lot of you guys about this at the conference, but I'll try to briefly catch you up if you weren't there. Basically, we started a millennial service. And so it's concurrent with our normal worship service at 1045. We redid an entire auditorium for it. And they are both live. So there's no video aspect to any of these. So the whole service, it revolves around community rather than watching something on the stage. So the messages are very interactive. Like there's discussion time during the messages. There's interactive elements like prayer times, taking communion together during worship, things like that. So in 2020, our major shift online is to start thinking in those kinds of terms towards driving towards community rather than driving towards viewing a service. So here's what we've come up with so far, and I would love for you guys to analyze it and see how you can make it better, or say don't do that because it's a dumb idea. So we're going to produce some more like studio versions of worship tunes, very similar to what Life Church does. So maybe one time it'll be on our rooftop somewhere, and we got our band up there playing a song, and another time is in a recording studio or whatever we decide to do. We'll produce about eight of those every quarter. So we'll have a database eventually to play through. So we'll have worship that's already pre-recorded that's specifically for the online campus. And then we're going to shift for the speaking portion of our service to not be in our main auditorium and go over to this millennial auditorium. And with that, like they'll be able to see the speaker on the stage, but we will also have a wide angled camera at one of the tables. And at the table is where our chat host will be sitting. So when the pastor like says, all right, Jesus said this, what do you think that means? Take 2 minutes to talk about it. We'll cut to a camera on our online campus to where they can physically see people sitting around discussing this question. Our host team member, the person that's chatting with them, is going to be mic'd with a lapel microphone. So he'll be able to like not only chat with the people around his table, but chat face to face with people online. The whole goal of this is to drive towards community, which is like, that's where we went with this service. That's where we're hoping to go as a church as a whole. So we're using this model as like a guinea pig to see if it would work like large scale. And so we're hoping to try this online. I know that was a ton of information. Please pick it apart.
Interesting. Is your millennial audience the largest segment of your online too, or you just think it might work well in this format because of the interactive nature?
I think it'll work well in this format because of the interactive nature. I think we'll get less quantity and more quality views.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care at all if I have
an online service targeted towards millennials, but you just think this format will work.
The format, yeah. The service in person, the target audience is millennials, but that doesn't mean that other people don't show up. Like you have to hit some kind of target. You can't just say I'm going to reach everybody with everything. So our target was millennials. Our people don't know that, but we just did research on what millennials actually like and realized that that's the largest group in our community. And so we were trying to target that age group. But I think that it'll work for engagement well online, hopefully. But I think we'll dip in quantity. So I think we'll go, if we have 1,500 viewers or whatever, unique IPs on a weekend, I think we'll drop down significantly. But I expect that our average view time and our engagement numbers should increase, which that's what I care about. So thoughts?
I'd be curious to see long-term if you're able to figure out a way for your online groups to also participate in the conversation more than just like typing in the chat.
Yeah, I want to and I don't think we're here as a community yet. So I need to hear that first. I think a handful of people would do it, but I've looked at using talkie.io because you can embed a stream within the actual grid. So like the Brady Bunch grid that you guys are seeing right now, one of those could be our stream. But the good thing about Talkie is that it doesn't require any software download. So you could click the link and it would immediately use your webcam. Whereas Zoom, you have to have the Zoom software. So eventually I want to get to that, and I'll probably implement that within Chop. But I'm specifically for Facebook, I don't think people are going to want to do that right off the bat anyways. We might have to cultivate a culture to do that first.
Yeah, as one of our big things has always been Church Online is someone anonymous.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that as a step. Like I want to see how that works. I don't know a lot of churches that are going to that effort. I was allowed just through a friend to kind of be behind the scenes when Lakewood Church, you may have heard of it, Joel Osteen. But they were doing FPU. So my in was somebody who worked at Dave Ramsey, but they were doing FPU for online. And they tried to do what you're describing. But what they did was they did it with actors and scripted out the conversation. And it was horrible.
Of course.
Because there was a point, and forgive me if you're a Joel Osteen, I'm not knocking Joel. If you're a Lakewood fan, whatever. They scripted out how the conversation was supposed to go. And they had the table with and it was just completely fake, inauthentic. And whatever it was just kind of crashed and burned. The good idea kind of got lost in the midst of, I've got actors who are now literally reading play for that. So, but the idea of that as a first step to, okay, that works now, try to make it so that online is more, but you got to create that culture, and often you've got to model the culture. And so what you're really doing is you're modeling that conversational culture for the online audience.
We did it the opposite of how most people try to do it. So we modeled it within a physical location first, knowing that we wanted to eventually reach online because we think that's where the church as a whole is going in the future.
How are you anticipating, because you have a lot of people, Church Anywhere, that are watching your live stream in a group already. How are you going to handle that where it's
perfect for it? Because we will, are you familiar with Alpha? Have you ever done Alpha? Mm-hmm. It'll be very, very similar to Alpha, to where they will already be in groups. So instead of watching one full service and then splitting up into just small groups, which is what we currently do, they will already be sitting in groups together, worshiping in groups together, and then discussing things in real time during the service. So they could watch an hour's worth of content instead of 30 minutes of content and 30 minutes of small group, and they'd still get the 30 minutes of small group within the hour's worth of content. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, Tyler. And last week I just told my online people, I said, hey, anybody want to jump on Zoom afterward? We can chat, we can pray, we can talk about the service. And one person got on Zoom and they didn't know how to use it even. So anyway, I was like, it was just, it's a hard transition to just say, all right, now you're watching the stream. Now we're going to go to a group. So it'd be nice if it was embedded all together. I hadn't heard of that Talkie. What do you call it? Talkie?
Talkie.io. Here, I'll write it in the chat.
The best thing is it's free, right?
Yeah,
Talkie, there's no cost to it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have any software, and it's not super glitchy. It's pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, I looked at it for doing my small group stuff, and the downside for me was you couldn't do breakout rooms. So if you had more than like 8 to 12 people, it became hard to continue conversation. You had to figure out how to do multiple rooms.
I am not anticipating that moving quickly to that.
Yeah.
But I personally think that Zoom's going to have some kind of answer for their competitors. So I'm hoping that they'll eventually get rid of their software-based stuff and go to more of a web-based platform.
Yeah.
If not, then I think Talkie will eventually get breakout rooms because everyone else has them.
Yeah.
They're
getting there.
TalkieIE.io.
Why? TALKY.io.
Is that right?
The Y didn't take me to anything.
Is it
didn't? Maybe it is IE.
IE took me to something.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's Y.
Is that a thing?
TALKY.io.
Yeah, mine was Y.
Oh,
yeah, it's Talkie with a Y.
For some reason, it says it can't find the server. So.
Oh.
So that's one of the big three for us. The second one is we've started streaming to Instagram.
It's the www that messed it up. There's no www. For some reason, it translated mine to www. All right.
Anyways, so we started.
Hey, before you get going, I'm sorry, my laptop's about to die and I have my charger. I'm gonna go. It was awesome hanging out with you guys, and I'm excited to do more of this, and definitely want to help you guys however we can. So have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you, and I'm sure I'll see you in the Facebook group. Sorry to bail, but see y'all.
And I'll schedule another one of these for like the first or second week of January.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
So.
Anyways, we've been streaming to Instagram for like a month. It's going relatively well. I'm curious to see how that shift will go on Instagram, but that's another one of our big three. And then also next year, we are hoping to get 2 more locations for Church Anywhere. And our big vision was 20 by 20, and we're at 18 right now. So I think it's probably manageable, but I am stressed out to my eyeballs on trying to manage 20 different locations. So part of my big three for me specifically is I'm breaking Church Anywhere down into 3 volunteer roles, 1 for curriculum, 1 for volunteer management and leadership training, and then the other one for like pastoral care. And so I'm hoping to split my role into 3 volunteers that I can just head that leadership team. So
That sounds really smart, Tyler.
Yeah, nice.
Not just smart, but necessary.
yeah, well, I'm preaching about 45% of the time. So
That's amazing that you're doing all the preaching. 45% of it. That's amazing.
yeah, about half right now. And so that's just been, since adding that to my plate, it's been a lot harder to manage the rest of the stuff. So.
Yeah, you started all this other stuff, and now you got to do both.
Oh shoot! Now I have to grow up and have a big person job. So.
Yeah. Well, I know we're a little bit over. Is there anything else we want to chat about?
Can I ask one more question, Jennifer, about your online Bible study offering? Is that an offering that you're going to be making public, or that it is, or it is?
Yeah, my goal is I want to do 1 or 2 beta groups first, so we can kind of work out the kinks and how it actually works, and then open it up to whoever wants to use it.
Okay, thanks.
So, and I have no plans to charge for it anytime soon. So I figured it's just an opportunity to figure out if it works.
Okay, great.
So, yeah. I will let you know. And if anybody wants to read my dissertation and tell me if I'm completely out in left field, feel free to let me know and I'll send it to you.
I would love to read it.
So.
Send it over.
I'll post it. I can post it in the group. You just can't take any of the comments yet. So I don't have an issue with the plagiarism, the checker. Just don't post it anywhere. At least until they've done the plagiarism checking.
What's the topic, Jennifer?
It's discipleship in a digital age. So it's essentially looking at how political social movements have formed and how they've transferred DNA to make social movements successful. How higher education has used multimodality and they've changed the way that the classroom now functions. And then there was a third one. I can't even remember my third one now. But
Jennifer, what was the group that did the without governance, social movements have failed? What is it?
Oh, so there's Polinsky.
Yes,
which that's him.
I've quoted that to my leadership since the conference at least 5 times on our this whole big causes Church Anywhere piece.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. So there's a bunch more of that because that was a lot of my paper. So.
Yeah.
I would love to read it.
Okay. I'll post it in the group and you guys can tear it up. My advisor's given me no feedback, so I'll have Church Online people give me feedback.
Sweet.
It'll only be positive from me because it's way too much work to have some joker who sees it in a Facebook group critique it,
Well, but the reality is you guys are the people who understand this, right? Like we are all walking this and we get that things are changing and the way we do church is changing and we're all trying to figure out the discipleship piece of digital space. So if anyone would have feedback, it would honestly be you guys because you're doing it.
I still wouldn't give it. So.
My husband read it, and if he read it and understood it, you can read it.
There you go.
No, that's not. I'm not criticizing my husband. I love him dearly, but He's a normal person, so if he can read it, anybody can read it. Because he lives in Normal.
Yeah, he could come live here.
That's right.
Be perfect. All right. Thanks for organizing, Jennifer. I appreciate it, Tyler.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and Tyler, thanks for kind of leading us today. It's awesome. So I will schedule another one. Does this time work for everybody? Do you guys have a preference? Since you're here, you get to decide.
This time is perfect for me.
It's good.
It's right on for me.
Okay, then I'll schedule it same time, and let's do the second week of January, because I'm sure we'll all still be kind of recovering from Christmas.
Sure.
So cool. I'll put it on the calendar. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
See you guys.
See you later.
I'll see you later.